Hello, everybody. You listening to the Fair Weather Podcast. It's your boy 2K Suave. I'm joined with Alex Rodriguez, and we are joined by my favorite people in the world from Townie Sports, Vic and Sami. I've been trying to get them on for a couple of weeks, but I know it was a little sour at first with the events that occurred in the previous
It wasn't
series.
a couple weeks. He wanted us on that same week.
No, I wanted y'all for a couple weeks. I promise. I promise it was a couple weeks. But anyway, how y'all doing?
Doing well, man. It's an honor to be back on the show. We appreciate you having us, or having me. I can't speak for Sami. He's here as well for the first time in a long time. But yeah, thanks for bringing us back, guys. Appreciate it.
It's been a while since Vic and I have been on your show together. So yes, thank you for having me. Thank you for also letting me mourn for a little bit and not picking on me too hard. So
I didn't have time for you to mourn. I needed you to get on the show ASAP. Because so A-Rod told me like you were not yet. And I was like, bro, I had to watch my team lose the Super Bowl and do the shit 3 days later. I was
So I like to let it simmer. I mean, I think Vic's just like me too in that way, where we're like, we don't want to overreact right away. Obviously there are things that we're going to overreact to, things that we're going to be mad about, but it's like, all right, let's give it a few days. Let's think about it, and not be like, oh, trade everyone, get everybody out of here.
And you're a smarter guy than I am, KK. I'm what they call in the business a real asshole, a big piece of shit. And if I was on here, I would have just been so mad the whole time.
I feel you.
Letting my emotions get the best of me, just talking shit for no reason. Like, oh yeah, well, who won the second round? Who won the second round?
So immediately the day after, like, what was like your first? Because obviously, it was when we'll get to the NBA Finals in a second, but it's 3-0. Everyone's like, oh my God, let's tear up the whole thing. Missoula this, da. And somehow the shit goes 7, right? So obviously you thought you had a chance after probably game 5 or 6, right? What was your initial like feeling first? Like, well, at least we made it a series, or like, how was y'all feeling?
I checked out in the third quarter because I could just see that we weren't going to win the game. Like I could just tell.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something Vic and I had talked about a lot throughout the series. I mean, throughout the entire playoffs, really. And Vic can, speak more on it, but I just felt like we were so flat. We ran one style of offense and that was it. When we went to other stuff, it was effective. And you saw that in games 5 and 6. When we started doing other things, when we started letting Marcus Smart post and do things, to counteract the zone. It's like we had those moments where we could counteract the zone, but then we just got lost again. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked. So let me set the mood for you, okay? Where I was during Game 7. So I was in a hotel room. My family had gone up to Myrtle Beach for the week, and we decided to stay in one of the sketchiest hotels I think I've ever been in my life. To be honest with you, we had armed security guards in the fucking hotel. And the TV was awful. The bed was full of sand because I had my kid with me in there, and he has sand all over him from the beach and shit. So I'm uncomfortable as is, and then I have to sit there on the shitty TV and watch Jason Tatum's ankle go like this. Mm-hmm. And then when that happened, I knew it was over. I knew the game was over. I held out hope, obviously, as a fan, but immediately after the game, how I felt. I was pissed. I'll be honest. I was pissed at Missoula. Like Sami said, I thought the offense had one style of play, and that was it. I was upset at Jaylen Brown for no reason.
Because he doesn't want to be there.
Well, other than he has 2 brick hands. Yeah. And he always goes. I don't know if you guys watched it. He did it against Philly too. He would go dribble in the same spot, like at least once a game, and just slip and fall. It was every fucking game.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I thought that I never am on the split them up bandwagon. Never. Mm-hmm. Got 2 stars under 26 years old. Keep them. But that was the closest I ever came.
And I told A-Rod last week, remember Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker? I told y'all that a couple years ago, or maybe a year ago. Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker, to me, it was like, it's not the same thing because they obviously weren't this good as far as like making it this deep in the playoffs and NBA Finals and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like there's just something that just it's not clicking between those two that you got to kind of just I don't know break it apart. I don't know. We'll see. But let's kick it off. A-Rod, we're gonna start with you, and then we'll get around the horn. What is the craziest, wackiest, or funniest thing you've seen this week in sports?
Craziest thing is last week we did the All-Star selection. I told you, watch out for Luis Arias.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah, dude's batting 401. Crazy stat. He has 150 multi-hit games in his career. He has 142 total strikeouts for his career.
Wow.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
Has he been checked? Has he been checked by like Balco and all that stuff?
He doesn't hit homers. He doesn't have power, that's for sure.
I know, it's playing. But he's more locked in, obviously.
Yeah, he's just a pure hitter. He's just like a shorter Miguel Cabrera almost, but Miguel Cabrera had power, but he could just place the ball wherever he wanted. And then the other crazy one, actually, no, I'll say that. I'm sure one of them will say it. So because it's soccer related, so I'll let them say it. Go ahead. That's what I got.
I was actually the one that I was going to point out, and I'm surprised. Well, Vic might want to take it, but the inside the park home run against the Red Sox. I mean, it was just, I don't know. It was just something you see. And somebody sent me a video of that of them throwing the ball in the infield. And I was like, God, that's my baseball team.
The wackiest thing I saw this week was Caleb Martin going from MVP to 4 points a game score against the Denver Nuggets. So that's
he's so soft.
I saw like a fake Bleacher Report page
about that.
Hold on, I saw a fake Bleacher Report page because he was like sick before Game 7 or something. That his brother played in his place in Game 7. Do you think that's possible?
I think the Morris twins have done it in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who the hell that was that whole series, but he was incredible.
Yeah.
And that to me was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that. A guy,
it's funny.
I've seen it happen for like 2 or 3 games, right, Sammy? Where
you
see a guy get hot, he gets 2 or 3 games going, but a whole freaking series, the guy was incredible. So
it's funny you say that, and not to like quote other podcasts on here, but I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast, and he also has such a keen eye for Caleb Martin as well. Like Bill Simmons has just been watching Caleb Martin with like a hawk eye, and he mentioned something perfectly. He said, if you took it in a vacuum and if you never watched the NBA but know about or just know basketball, if you just never watched the NBA this year and you sat there and you watched the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics series, you would have thought Caleb Martin was a top 15 player in the NBA. That's how good he played.
That's crazy.
For real.
I mean, you would at least thought he was an all-star, right? Like just the
he played. I mean, they were talking about giving him the Eastern Conference MVP for the series.
No, he shouldn't have. I actually looked it up.
Jimmy was fine, but there was some. I mean, Jimmy did disappear a lot too, and I thought we did a good job on Jimmy.
Which he kind of tends to do a little bit. Like he'll go crazy, and then he kind of just slowly kind of just fall back, and then come back alive. I don't know.
Every fourth quarter, though, he's coming.
I mean, Miami Heat this whole season in the fourth quarter and this whole playoffs in the fourth quarter, they're like on another planet. But my little funny
YMCA team, right?
What?
Right, Sam, the YMCA team.
So, bro, Vic, I think you even alluded to that in the beginning of the year when we were talking NBA. You were talking about Miami Heat and their clutch. Like they had like the highest clutch stat in the entire league or something like that. I'm pretty sure you mentioned it on one of our pods before.
Maybe. I can't. I'm just so upset.
All right, my funny thing. It started yesterday when I saw Zion Williamson talk about do a gender reveal on Twitter. I was like, the hell is he doing a gender reveal for? My first thought was, wow, he looked like he's in shape. I didn't think much of it. I saw the girl. I was like, okay, whatever. He did what he had. He did what he did, right? Come to find out, she's like a stripper. Come to find out, I found a video of her fighting somebody else, and like her like boobs are falling out and everything. Fast forward 24 hours, and the Twitter world is on fire because this dude got somebody else in New Orleans that he's also friendly with, and she aired out all his shit for the whole world to see. So I don't know what's going on in South Carolina, but John Morant and Zion Williamson.
You let me spit in your mouth.
Yeah,
Those tweets are crazy, man.
Hey, Rock, do you want to give like a cliff note to some of those tweets?
I mean, I was just like browsing through Twitter today, just getting my daily dose of comedy that I see, and like it's just like porn stars all over my shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't look at shit like this like normally, but all over it's this chick just dogging him, man, about, oh, I did this with you and you better pray I'm not late because I'm late right now. And
jeez. Hey, then she said you got to move 2 people to New Orleans. I don't know how you're gonna do that.
Yeah. And the funny thing is too is like yesterday too, like when the gender reveal thing was Zion, that was the same thing, like emotions I was like, oh, he looks like he's in shape. Oh, he's got a girlfriend. I thought his girlfriend was white, that's what I was expecting. And then it's just like tumbling down from there, like with the girl, there's all these streets and avenues of like, she's not, doesn't have the greatest resume to be a wife or a baby mama.
The chick called her a low level porn star.
Yeah, she really honed in on that porn star thing where she was like, "You was a low level porn star instead of me."
And if you look at that 2019 draft class, that also included what's his name? The one that got with Brittany Renner, PJ Washington. He was in that draft class. Tyler Hero's in that draft class. And, his name was. He looked like Machine Gun Kelly all last playoff series. I'm like, yo, who's this rapper on the bench? I mean, they got Grant Williams, the guy who, for whatever reason, wanted to give Jimmy Butler a hard time for in the middle of a game. Like, what are you doing? So
I love that. I absolutely love that.
You love that from your bench guy? If it's not Tatum,
because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is doing it.
Tatum or Brown, stop it. I'm sorry.
Somebody's got to bring energy because clearly Brown and Tatum don't have any.
At least Marcus Smart. I'm sorry, but not Grant Williams. I was a little
coming from the guy who said he's going to make both these free throws and missed them both too. So he's 0 for 2 right now.
His track record is not good.
No, he did well. He did well in games 4, 5, and 6.
Don't let him get 3.
Redraft. Are we drafting RJ Barrett number 1 overall?
No, absolutely not. RJ
you still
Barrett
taking Zion or Ja?
Hell no. If we're redrafting with what we know today, I'm taking RJ Barrett number 1. Of course I am. What has Zion done to make you feel like he is worthy of the number 1 overall pick? I wouldn't even draft him in the top 3. I don't think. Just because of what's my saying? What's the best availability? Mm-hmm. My guy hasn't played in 3 or 4 years of full season.
Yeah.
So I'm good on Zion Williamson and all the shit he brings. I don't think he's a franchise guy right now, but we'll see. Time will tell. He has the skills, but we've seen this happen in the past a lot. Guys have come into the league with a lot of skill, a lot of ability, and a lot of upside, and then what happens? Darko Milicic.
Yeah, but Darko is not supposed to be. Darko is not supposed to be an all-time great. That was just the need that the Detroit Pistons had, and they fulfilled that need and still won a championship.
Anthony Bennett. There's the world's littered with him.
Markelle Fultz.
His career is getting better.
Yeah, I'll say number 1.
I mean, better
he's
from
playing like a second-round draft pick.
Listen, he went from 6 points a game to 15. I mean,
I'd rather have Caleb Martin.
But also in that draft, Caleb Martin and Jordan Poole is also in that draft. And
word, okay.
So that if you kind of go down that draft class, I mean, they had some pretty decent talent all the way through. I mean, Daniel Gafford was in the second round. Bobo's in the second round.
But look at the parity though, where it's like Jordan Poole last year, right? At the end of last season, you'd be like, oh yeah, move him up the draft board. And then this year, you're like,
I would not have moved him up the draft board. I have no love for Jordan Poole. I'm sorry.
And the playoffs last year,
I'm a Michigan guy. No love for Jordan Poole.
He was damn good in the playoffs, though.
Yeah. He's like Monte Ellis on steroids. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's a comp.
All right. NBA Finals is going on. We tied 1-1 as we speak, and Game 3 is about underway. So not knowing how tonight's going to go, but doesn't really matter because what I've seen from this playoffs, anybody can win anywhere. Like there's no home court advantage. I mean, Denver used to have it, and Denver can't even take care of home court advantage. So, first and foremost, what are y'all take so far on the series, and where are y'all leaning? I'll start with you, Vic.
Well, I just want to make this point. So currently, 2 games in the NBA Finals, Jason Tatum still leads.
Let it go.
League in points.
Let it go.
Points. I just want you guys to know that Jason Tatum is the real one. But which way am I leaning? I mean, I don't understand how you can go against Nikola Jokic, but I'm starting to get a little bit of the Team of Destiny vibe from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
All things are coming up Miami now. You got the Florida Panthers, you got the Miami Heat, you got Inter Miami signing the best, second best player of all time.
Whoa, behind Pele. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, behind Pele. But I'm gonna have to stick to my guns here and go Denver. I just think they're the better, more complete team. But again, I'm gonna cop out here and I'm gonna say I felt the same way about the Celtics heading into the Celtics Heat series. So.
Sammy.
Man, if you ask, it's so funny because if you ask me after Game 1, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a sweep.
Yeah.
You're asking me now, and again, I think I'm riding with Vic. I'm probably leaning more towards Miami now, just because I saw that they could win in Denver, and Denver before going into that game was what 9-0 or something like that.
7-0.
Yeah, 7-0 going in, so it was like they were undefeated at home. You bring up the aspect of, at altitude and all that stuff, which I think is a little bit of a cop out. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit, you feel a little bit, but it's they're professional athletes. They'll deal with it. But again, playing a game away is not very easy, especially on the other side of the country. And then if you look at the stats behind it, I mean, even in both games, Miami held Denver to around 30% or less on 3-pointers, which again, Denver's, I don't think is a great 3-point shooting team, but they just do that very, very well. They defend at such a high level. And even if their shots are not falling, they stay pretty well within games. And I think eventually, because they have such just like a good group of people, that eventually somebody's going to get hot, right? Like it's a revolving door. Somebody's going to get hot on a single game, and it's going to be somebody random. And not to mention, they have arguably the best coach in the NBA.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the 3-point shooting though, Sammy. Denver is averaging the second best 3-point percentage throughout these playoffs. Number 1, funny enough, is the Miami Heat.
Yeah. Which is
close. They're close. We talked about it.
They're real close too.
Yeah. 39.2 for Miami, 38.2 for
what was Denver's regular season 3-point percentage?
Their regular season 3-point percentage was just below the Heat. Again, the Heat were at I'm sorry, that's 3-pointers made. 3-point percentage. Denver was 4th in the league at 38%.
Okay.
Only behind Philly, Golden State, and LA Clippers. The Miami Heat, funny enough, were the 27th best 3-point percentage team.
Which makes more sense.
Yeah. Real interesting here.
So I misspoke, but again, the fact that they were holding Denver to around 30 or under, and even in both games is pretty telling of their defense as a whole.
Hey, right. What are you thinking about Bam so far in this playoff series? Because he was getting a lot of shit last round, and then
I think game 1. I think game 1 was a feeler game for Denver to figure out who's what, and Bam went off.
Miami too,
Yeah, Miami
even for Miami too.
Yeah, I meant for Miami. I didn't mean for Denver. I meant for Miami to feel out what's going on. And Bam got busy because they took care of all the other guys, and Bam was kind of left alone to do a little down low. And I think game 2 they understood the assignment. And what did I tell you? It's going to be like, we know Jimmy's going to be Jimmy, but there's going to be, you don't know who that number 2 is. Like, Vic was saying Caleb Martin, like what happened to him? He was, this great player and against the Celtics and that, but now he disappears game 1. So it's going to be anybody shows up. And to me, I thought the biggest mistake the Heat made in the first game was like undersized. They were so undersized. And having Kevin Love out there, like not out there, made no sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a big problem right there. So I think I'm still rocking with the Heat in 7. It's going to be a tough series. But Jimmy Butler just like he's a snake charmer, man. He knows how to get, like, we can sit here and say like they can talk about Jokic and say like he had a bad game last game. 41, 11, and 4 assists. They'll focus on that 4 assists, okay? Because they're expecting to see a 10 in that category every time. But he also turned the ball over 5 times in that game, which is unlike him to do. So Jimmy gets under your skin. This team gets under your skin. Like Sami said when I texted him to come on the podcast, he said it's a YMCA team we lost to. And those are the kind of guys that just like piss you off all the time. Is the YMCA league guys that are just chirpy, getting under your skin, and the Heat are gonna heat, man.
But you know who's not getting? I mean, Gabe Vincent's just playing fantastic basketball. Like that's the other thing, because he's their second leading scorer. Like Jimmy Butler is averaging 17 points a game in this playoff series. So it's not like Jimmy's doing anything. I mean, he's 39.4% shooting. He's shooting 42% from 3, weirdly enough, and 100 from free throw percent. But 39.4% shooting. He's like a -7, whereas like Gabe Vincent is a +11. So it's like Gabe Vincent has been like the unspoken hero or the X factor or whatever you want to call it. Whereas like in game 1, we saw Aaron Gordon just like really just go to work early, and you can just tell, okay, everything's going to be out of sorts because of the size that the Nuggets have. But I know you focus on that 4 a little bit. The problem is that the way Jokic plays, if his assist numbers are down, that means the whole team is not scoring, or they're not scoring. They're not, because no matter what, Jokic makes beautiful plays, beautiful passes. He finds the open man. So
I'm not taking anything away from him.
I know,
I'm
just
what
saying.
the media would say.
But the media is right, though. I agree with the media for this one, because if he only has 4 assists, they probably didn't win the game, because he has to. Jokic is too big to be having to score 41 points. But if he's going to score 4, like remember that Lakers game, and I think it was game 1 and game 2, he had like 38, 17, and like 12. Like, I'm not saying he needs all those rebounds or anything like that, but when the other guys are scoring, it's like it's just different. What's his name? KCP gets hot. Michael Porter Jr. gets hot. And Jamal Murray, it helps his game a lot too. So I do think that 4 assist thing was a big deal. And we talked about head coaching in the playoffs, and I mean, it comes to show you how, like, people used to just think that you can just roll out talent and assume that they're going to play well, right? It's hard. Like, it's really hard. Joe Mazzulla like got a firsthand class of that this year. Like, damn, like this is tough. Like Udoka, you could tell like he was a lot more tough on them, so it brought out the best in them. I mean, I was telling A-Rod think about it. Jason Tatum in the playoffs, what he did defensively on Kevin Durant, just from that, I remember watching it. I'm like, I've never seen him play defense like this in my life. So he got that little bit of extra out of him. I don't think
that was his focus. Like that's.
I don't think Mazzulla has the ability to get any of that out of anybody on this team.
That's not his focus, and I think he's gonna be a good coach. But you're right, it's too early.
Well, so I mean, and how I'm leaning, like, before the series, I understand the team of destiny thing, which is why I said Miami probably will win the series. But it's the same way, after game 1, I texted A-Rod. I said, Nuggets in 5. Because, like, I don't know, man. Like, when they're clicking, it's some scary shit to watch. So
same thing with the Heat, man. Look at Max Strus. He made 0 points game 1, and he came out shooting out the gym. That was like your X factor in the game.
That was my other concern, because it's not like Miami got blown away in game 1, and the Heat were missing open shots. Max Strus
open shots.
Duncan Robinson was like 1 for 9. Like they weren't missing good shots. They got the shots that they wanted, and now they're starting to fall. Which, if those shots are falling, like I said, like one of my concerns for Denver is that this moment still might be too much for them. Like Miami. I heard a stat today. I forgot who said it. In the last 4 years, the Miami have the most playoff wins in the last 4 years.
That's crazy.
Like think about that. That's crazy. Like a team that, we don't really talk about Jimmy Butler enough or Bam or anything because they don't. I mean, they had Wade, they had LeBron, they had Shaq, they've had Alonzo, they've had all this great talent, and for whatever reason, they don't really get the respect that they truly deserve. But then when you look at coaching, like I said,
YMCA team.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Spoelstra got a bunch of YMCA players to get to the NBA Finals and now pulled off a game in Denver, which nobody else has been able to do this postseason,
right?
Including Kevin Durant and LeBron James, right? So,
right,
the coaching is going to be like the X factor, honestly. And it's, I think Mike Malone is a fantastic coach, but Spoelstra has been here a lot. He's been here plenty of times. He's been with the Heat for like 25 years, right? So he's seen everything, and being under the tutelage of a Pat Riley and who's seen everything himself too. Just all of that kind of just bodes a lot better for Miami. Now, if Denver's clicking, it's a whole nother story. But I don't know, man. I don't know which. I'll still lean Miami, but if I see another like second quarter, like I saw Denver do like in game 2, where they just came out and it was just knocking down everything, that's when they're at their best. It's like when the Warriors, right, when they were on their title runs, every third quarter, they're going to win that quarter by 20 points. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's one of those things in which if Denver can just, how to just understand the moment better, then they have a chance. But I don't know. But anyway, you still stick with Miami?
Bro, I never take an underdog ever, and I'm taking Miami on this. I'm riding it the whole way. Like Jimmy Butler, I single-handedly watch him take down number 1 and number 2 in the East and number 5 in us. So like he's real deal. And yeah, I'm sticking with him. 7 games though. It's gonna be tough because I have a lot of respect for Denver and the Joker in that team. I always said if Jamal Murray's healthy, like the sky is the limit for them then. Because I always thought that guy was a good basketball player. But like Zion, he's been hurt constantly the last 3 years. So now he's back.
Let's not compare him to Zion.
I'm not. I'm comparing an injury. Like
I got you. I'm just kidding.
I think you mentioned something interesting too. I didn't want it to get too lost for your listeners, so that they can understand that when Spoelstra came out, I think it was Ramona Shelburne that had asked him, if you make Jokic a passer or a scorer, do you have a much better chance at winning? And Spoelstra like pretty much called everybody an idiot if that's what they think. And I think you alluded to something very interesting. He was still playing his same game. It's just nobody was hitting shots. So I think I was reading somewhere that said if the passes he was making in game 2 were hit, every single one, of course, right? Obviously, you're going to miss some. He would have 15 assists. Yeah. But I guess let's say you take half of that. I mean, then he's almost at a double-double again, right? Correct. Then he's almost at 10, 11.
Then it's just the same thing.
Again. So it's just the same thing, right? Yeah. It's just, you said it perfectly. Like his guys just weren't hitting shots. He wasn't making the plays. His shots weren't falling when he was making the pass. So that whole suit and what's crazy is because we were talking about it in our group chat, like he called everybody an idiot for thinking that, and then people just kept talking about it on ESPN and all this nonsense. I'm like, you guys are stupid.
That's why I don't. That's why I don't pay attention to them. All right, Vic. For the most part, it looks like we're all probably kind of leaning that Miami way.
Wow.
Sammy more so. He's still. You still picking Denver, right, Sammy? But you've been pulled a little bit by Miami.
My main point was I just want to see Miami win at least 2 games. Then I'll be happy that the Celtics lost. If they can win 2 games.
Got it.
So that's kind of where I'm.
Well, let's be honest. So Missoula was doing it again with a skeleton crew on his bench. Pretty much no bench coaches. I think the Celtics did what they needed. And not to turn this into a Celtics pod. I know we're talking about the finals and who's going to win it. But I do want to mention the Celtics.
That's why he brought us here. Come on.
Sam Cassell an 08 Celtics. They've been in talks with Rajon Rondo. I'm waiting for them to start talking to Leon Poe. Where's James Posey at? Maybe get him as a bench coach. Can we bring in Kevin Garnett maybe to do conditioning? Let's bring in the whole 08.
Just bring in the whole shebang.
And then let's run that. Yeah.
Real quick, when I saw Sam Cassell was going to Boston, you don't understand how much my heart shattered. Because Sam Cassell, what he did with Markelle Fultz, and a lot of like the point guard of James Harden got better. That's all Sam Cassell. Like that's literally all him. So losing him is like a true heartbreaker. And to go to like a rival like Boston just made it even worse. Because now they know he knows all the shit that we're gonna do anyway. So
we're gonna continue to lose to Boston
for the rest of my life. It's like I can't deal with this anymore.
Well, just wait till you hear about the Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart for Joel Embiid trade that we're gonna hear about all summer.
Yeah, shit, you know what we're gonna do. We're definitely gonna hear it.
I've already seen it, and then I've seen the dumbest stuff. You know, Jaylen Brown for Damian Lillard. You know, stuff like that. It's insanity, really. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this series. I think it's going to be a good one. I think, like how I felt about LeBron a couple years ago. You know, I think Jokic is special. This type of big man, maybe Wemby is going to be doing the same thing, but right now, the player that Jokic is, we need to take note, and also take note of the parity in the NBA, right? So remember when the NBA was a league where it was dominated by one team year after year after year. And these past few seasons, I've really loved the parity.
Yeah.
You know, we had Celtics Dubs last year, Heat Nuggets this year. What was it? I mean, granted, it's kind of funny because it's pretty much either Heat, Bucks, Celtics. You know what I mean? It's one of the, but at least it's parity, right? It's not just the Lakers winning every year, or the Bucks winning every year, or the Bulls winning every year. I like where the NBA is at right now. I think I said this last year as well. I love the parity.
Yeah.
And especially when you can see an 8 seed go on to the finals. Yeah.
And I told A-Rod last week, it's like the big three stuff kind of started a little bit, and it got out of hand, right? Everyone's just doing this, that, and the third. Now you see basketball teams win championships now. Like all these, you look at all these paths to the NBA Finals. The Nuggets beat Kevin Durant and LeBron James, and Miami beat Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and who am I missing? The Knicks. So sorry, but like it takes like a complete basketball team rather than let's load this superstar with this superstar and this superstar and pray something happens. Like that clearly doesn't work anymore. And you're right. You look at the brand of basketball that's been played. It's team basketball again. It's
beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And you know, a lot of people. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago about like the play-in tournament and all that stuff. I mean, Adam Silver. You know, call it what you want. I wasn't a fan of the play-in tournament. I'm not a fan of this in-season tournament they're going to do, but it's working. Less teams are tanking than before, so teams are actually trying to be competitive, unlike the Dallas Mavericks or something like that. But like teams are actually trying towards the end of the year. And Miami, who lost their first play-in game, found themselves in the NBA Finals and only 3 wins away, possibly 2 after tonight, away from an NBA championship. So the system is working, and you know, collective bargaining and all that stuff is working.
That's what I want to bring up too. Have you guys talked about the new CBA yet, and the impact that that's going to have? I mean, that's going to have a huge impact on teams like Philadelphia.
Don't rain on the parade yet.
Well, I think the Celtics are fine right now. Even if they do extend Brown, it shouldn't affect them too badly.
Yeah, we got it. That means we might have to offload Brogdon.
Yeah, we will. But the Dubs are like teams like the Dubs are screwed.
That's what we talked about that last week. Like the Warriors, why else would he step down? Like you got this beautiful child of the Golden State Warriors, and he saw the writing on the wall. Like there's no way we can keep this up anymore. So yeah, I mean it's business. Like sports is still a business whether we like it or not. And you know the product still needs to be good on the court.
I guarantee you though, after this CBA. After probably 2 to 3 years of it, the NBA is going to be like, we fucked up.
You think so?
They're going to go back. They're going to go
What
back to
makes you
kind of
say
what
that,
we
though?
have right now. I just think you're not going to see the consistency with players. I know they don't mind player movement because it brings a lot of attention, but then you don't get the exact sales. You don't get teams trying to structure a certain way. Like, because you're not going to be able to afford to keep players longer than 2 to 3 seasons. So you're just going to see constant player movement. And I'm not talking about from the top, right? So obviously like the top 4 to 8 guys are probably going to stay much longer, but you're going to see a lot more just people just constantly moving. And I just don't think it's going to be a good brand of basketball that they're going to like.
It's going to change team building completely, right? Because the first thing was load up on draft picks, get your draft picks, get young stars.
Now nobody's going to want draft picks.
Because if you have the draft picks, you're going to have to eventually pay them. And if you have to pay them, you're screwed. You only pay them a certain amount. You go over the cap too high, and you're hamstrung. I mean, it's not. You might not be getting a repeater tax anymore, but you're losing out on so much more. No MLE, no more buyout guys during the year.
No more 2-for-1s. It's only a 1-for-1.
Right, exactly. So you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you are, was it the repeater? Is it the repeater tax?
Supermax. They call it a supermax tax or something.
Yeah.
The super tax. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean you're fucked. You know, because
Effectively.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's gonna. I hate the new CBA. I cannot believe the players agreed to it. I think they got housed because it's gonna help the top guys, but these middle guys, these Marcus Smarts, these Grant Williamses, these guys that we're probably not gonna be able to resign Grant Williams. You know, let's be honest. If he's going to make $20
baseball is the only sport that all the players, like, to me, are more on the same accord. Whereas like football, like the top guys want to take care of themselves. Basketball, the top guys, hockey, like it's just different. Like with these other sports, but yeah, it's and which leads me to our next topic. I mean, there's a lot of free agents available this summer. Chris Paul just became one today. Obviously, Kyrie's kind of trying to get LeBron James to move to Dallas from Los Angeles, California, where his son's in college and his other son's in high. Like, that's not happening. James Harden is torn between sucking with the Houston Rockets or losing to Boston in the second round with Philly. Dame Dollar's talking about Bam as his homeboy. Now he wants to play for Miami, maybe. Like, a lot of shit is going on free agency wise. So after this NBA Finals, which is going to be funny and annoying at the same time, because you know when a team wins an NBA championship, the attention should be about that team, right? For example, if let's say Phoenix won a championship, they'd be talking about Kevin Durant and Devin Booker for 2 weeks. Golden State, they'd be talking about forever. But no matter who wins between Denver and Miami, by Tuesday or the next 2 business days later, they're going to be talking about free agency. What are the Lakers going to do? What are the Celtics going to do? What are the big market teams? So, because even though Miami's a big market, it's not, they don't have like that marketable, like Jimmy is like as marketable as they come, but the NBA is not putting him out there. Jimmy's putting himself out there. Like he's the one that's, trademarking Henry buckets. He's the one that's doing the coffee thing. That's all him. Usually like the NBA is supposed to like take, put the superstars on their back and carry them. They ain't doing much for Jimmy, but either way, what are some intriguing free agents outside of Boston situation? We'll talk about Jaylen Brown, but outside of Boston and Grant Williams and all that, what are some intriguing storylines we're going to see this summer from our free agent pool? Sammy, I'll start with you, Sammy.
No, I think you kind of briefly alluded to it, but I think the James Harden situation, where's he going to go? And I think depending on when he goes, I think a lot of players are going to wait for what he makes, right? Because that's going to be the big question. Whatever he makes, then everybody can gauge and be like, I'm not 34 or 35 years old. I'm 30 or 31. You look at, another example like Fred VanVleet. You know what I mean? Like he might be another one of those players that's kind of waiting to see, okay, what is James Harden getting at 34 that I can't get and I'm 29? So I think the James Harden situation is going to be interesting. Obviously, the Russell Westbrook.
I haven't heard anything about Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
What's going on there? Does anybody know?
No idea.
He's
unrestricted though.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
So, but yeah, I think the James Harden one's going to be really interesting. I think everybody's going to keep their eye. And then Draymond Green, another one.
That's another one.
A lot of people talk about where he's going to go.
I mean, the whole Golden State situation, honestly,
So you're looking at Draymond Green, who you're not going to get a great scorer. You're going to get a good defender and a good leader. and a guy that people like to rally around. I mean, leader, kind of loosely in a sense of
Yeah.
like people like him, like everybody in the league likes him. So, and if you're against him, you hate him. That's kind of what he is.
And
unless you're
now
Jordan
that he
Poole.
does that podcast, I think it just he puts himself out there.
Bro,
So,
I like him now.
yeah, I love Draymond Green. I can't lie, I really do.
He gave the Celtics so much props this year after, like, during the playoff run, and he was like, it's fucking hard. He just kept reiterating it. I thought it was really cool of him. I thought he was going to say, like everybody else, trade everybody. He's like, no, keep it.
Yeah.
It's not like the 90s where you have, like the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks did as much as they can with that nucleus. They couldn't get past Jordan, but they did as much as they could with that nucleus. So yeah. Vic, what you got for free agency?
I like Sammy's take there on Harden. I think that my most interesting free agent this summer, and I do want to mention Jaylen Brown is not a free agent. He's extension eligible, but he's still got a year left on his contract.
Correct.
But Kristaps Porzingis for me is an interesting one.
Why is he still interesting to you? Like, what needle is he moving?
Fuck out of here!
I'll tell you what, because he's probably not a $30 million a year a guy anymore. But if the right team can get Porzingis for $20 million, because look, the Milwaukee Bucks have Middleton and Brook Lopez coming due.
Mm-hmm.
What if they added Kristaps Porzingis with him? I mean, that'd be pretty interesting. I think they could probably afford him. But even Kristaps in Miami next to Bam Adebayo, because Kristaps can stretch the floor too. Yeah. He has a shot. So he's not your typical big man where he just has to sit in the center. So those are just two Eastern Conference teams that I think he can definitely shift the balance of power on. Not obviously he's not going to take anybody from an 8 seed to a title contender, but for those teams that are fringe title contenders, I think that he could put them over the top.
Tremendous depth. That's great depth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Fred VanVleet is my number 2 player. As far as, I mean, obviously Kyrie Irving and James Harden are the most talented, but as far as people that I think are going to make a difference, Fred VanVleet and Kristaps Porzingis are my number 2. Because I think Fred VanVleet can have the your boy in New York's kind
Brunson?
of yeah,
that kind of impact.
100% that kind of impact. I think he's a great player. He's
got that dog in him.
Yeah,
he has that dog in him, and you know what? He's not that old, right?
Yeah. So Kristaps is 27, and VanVleet is 29. And I told A-Rod last week, the only thing that will make me even remotely happy about Nick Nurse is if he's bringing Fred VanVleet with him. Like, if that's the case, if you bring Gary Trent too. All right, cool, great. James Harden can go to Houston to go back to the strip club, and I get those two. I'm fine. That will make me a lot happier rather than
especially with Maxey.
Exactly.
Because they could play together. I think Fred VanVleet and Maxey.
Oh yeah, VanVleet is mature. That's the thing. He's very mature. So he's not gonna like try to step on anyone's toes or try to take anybody's shine or any of that.
I mean, I would be worried defensively, but offensively, that team is not going to miss a beat. And I mean, you're losing James Harden, so it's not like you're losing a fucking top tier defender anyway.
Yeah. You're probably getting an upgrade at defense if you think about it.
Honestly, at this point, I think so. Hey, Rod, what you got for free agency?
It ain't Kristaps Porzingis, that's for sure. But I get what you're saying. But he's he could take someone like an ace. Look at Caleb Martin, your boy, man. Mr. Disappear, now you see me, now you don't. So anything is possible. But the ones I'm paying attention to obviously are the big ones. But some crazy ones to think of. Gary Trent Jr. is a free agent. So Gary Trent Jr., if history repeats itself and he's following in his dad's footsteps, he'd be going to Dallas this season if that's the case.
I could see that too.
I could see it too.
I could definitely see that.
It would be funny if he plays the same type of career as his father and follows in his footsteps on all the teams he goes to. So that's a big one. And even at that, sticking with Dallas, Christian Wood's another crazy one because
I'm surprised Vic didn't mention that's his boy.
Well, I do like Christian Wood, but I I don't think he's going to have as much of an impact. I'm sorry, A-Rod, I cut you off. Go ahead.
My bad, A-Rod.
No, you're fine. I agree with you, but I think that's because what Dallas did to him. I think Dallas really took away like how good of a player he is and wanted to focus it all on the dynamic, duo of Kyrie and fucking Luka. And we all know Luka's a superstar. We know that. And we know Kyrie can be a superstar. We also know Kyrie is also like comes with a torch right into the helm and is already like destroying shit right when he walks through the front door.
Tears down every city.
Yeah. Him and Neymar are the best comparisons. They're the same exact people, man, as far as like guys. But what's gonna go on in Dallas? How are they gonna make this? Yeah, exactly. How are they gonna make this look good? So they literally got rid of all of their role players and key pieces that make them a contender and with defense and hustle and bench points and scoring and all of that for a bunch of nobodies to play with Kyrie and Luka just for them to, shit the bed basically.
Yeah.
And then there's reports of them wanting to get LeBron James. Like, we know that's not going to happen.
I mean, can we put anything into that?
No,
like, where were that? Because somebody had to leak that, right? So who, like, where did
Kyrie did. Kyrie did. It was Kyrie.
What leverage is he trying to gain by doing that? He knows LeBron's not coming to Dallas.
That's what he's doing. Forgive me, Daddy.
He's not coming to Dallas for any kind of forgiveness.
Absolutely not. But I'm curious to see, because we've alluded to it a bunch of times on the show. What's the makeup going to be in Dallas now that they know that just Kyrie and Luka can't thrive together? Like, how are they going to put a team together there? There's got to they had the formula. They just didn't have to get Kyrie. They would have probably been a 7 seed.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I was asked this question today, and I really want to hear kind of all of your opinions on this. And I'm sorry to make it a Celtics spot.
No, you're good, bro.
but I think you're looking at a situation and the reason why I'm bringing it up because you're looking at a situation of two teams that are in a rut, if you will, right? They're stuck, right? If for better or worse, the Celtics are stuck. Let's say something happens, LeBron James goes to Dallas, or there's a consideration of LeBron James going to Dallas. If there's some kind of trade, right, to make all of this happen, does Dallas give up Luka for Jaylen Brown and LeBron James?
Hell no. No way.
Hell no.
You high?
No, hell no. First of all, LeBron's about to retire in like a year and a half.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Jaylen Brown, like you said, got brick for hands, and Luka Doncic.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
I still think Tatum is better than Luka, but I would not trade Luka Doncic for anybody right now. It might not name Giannis Antetokounmpo.
If you're looking at a situation where the Dallas Mavericks want to win now, and because obviously the Kyrie and Luka thing isn't working.
That's not how Cuban operates.
How long did they wait for Dirk Nowitzki to get his championship? And when they got it,
I know.
Sweet. It felt very sweet.
Cuban has his guys, and he does not trade his guys. Luka is one of his guys.
Yeah, he literally Luka ain't going. There's not a check that they can put on that table. I mean, he's already a billionaire anyway, so. There's no money that's going to pry anything Luka from Dallas in any way. Like that is his prized joy and possession. I don't like to use the word possession for athletes.
I'll tell you. But what would the Celtics have to give up? Because we can't just give up. We're gonna have to give up.
Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, some picks. I know picks aren't going to be as valuable.
I want Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
No,
give me both of them.
Hell no, you're crazy.
No, that's dumb.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Luka's not going anywhere for no amount of picks or players.
I would definitely do that. If that trade happened with Marcus Smart, I would fuck it. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Robert Williams for Luka Doncic. I would.
Yeah, Mark Cuban is not dumb enough, high enough, drunk enough, whatever enough to do that.
Well, we're learning. You need a team. So just saying, you guys said it on this podcast.
I think he's going to learn his lesson. He's going to learn his lesson from this Kyrie Irving situation that. Damn, that was something I don't normally do. I don't do things like that. I don't gut my roster for a point guard that has a very questionable track record over the last few years and is heading into free agency. So basically, you got rid of
all that junk aside, though. It's so crazy because God, when you watch Kyrie Irving play basketball, it's ridiculous.
It's beautiful.
It's unreal.
It's beautiful. So the fact that he's that good as a basketball player.
Stop, Vic. We were mesmerized for like 2 years, man. You can't even lie.
He's that good as a basketball player, and then whatever team he goes to, everything just goes south. It doesn't make sense. So it's like, I don't know. I can't even put my finger on that one. That one's just tough. But Chris Paul, what do you think this old man does?
I think he resigns with Phoenix. Is he able to do that?
Yeah.
I don't
know if Phoenix can though.
That's what I'm wondering. Is he able to? Because I think I thought he was buzzed with KD. That's why I was surprised when they made sense. I mean, he was only guaranteed $15 million, right?
Yeah.
So when they waived him,
I mean, he's an aging point guard. He's always hurt in the most important times since Los Angeles. He's always hurt at the worst possible time. So, I mean, what are you willing? Obviously, you don't have to pay him so much because he is 38, but he said he does plan to keep playing for several more years in the NBA. So, you're bringing him on for somebody maybe be a mentor to another guard, or are you bringing him on because he's going to be a piece for a championship run? Like, how would y'all approach that if you're a GM?
I think you got to look at it as he's going to be probably still an important piece. I think he's still got game, for lack of a better term. Like, I think that man still can play. He's probably one of the smartest basketball players, probably one of the best point guards we've like in our lifetime. If you think about it, I'm not talking about the guys before that were already
you're 100%
but I mean,
right. Yeah.
Like, he's arguably one of the best.
He's not better than Pistol Pete Maravich.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm not talking about like Jason Kidd and stuff like that. Like, yeah, we watched them, but like from the start, we watched Chris Paul. But you got to shelf him. You know what I mean? Like, you need to shelf him. And yes, like you said, like it's going to have to be a situation where yes, it's going to be an important piece, but you know that you want to get the best out of him in the playoffs. I think it's going to have to be opposite of what the Celtics were forced to do. Again, sorry. But the Celtics had to give Al Horford a lot of minutes, and then you saw it suffer in the playoffs. He had no legs by the end of the playoffs, and Chris Paul's going to have to be the opposite.
It's been some time since Townie's recorded, so they're getting all their Celtics steam out.
I'll tell you what. I'll do another Celtics comp for you. Do you think that he could be to a championship team that Malcolm Brogdon was to?
I think you need him. I think you need him.
Like maybe be like a second unit, like run a second unit.
I don't think second unit. I think first unit.
I think Chris Paul needs to start with the Celtics.
What have I said?
Good Lord.
You get Tatum
we talked about this.
Brown, a real point guard. Oh, the sky is the limit. It's completely like, okay, now you guys are serious, because unfortunately, as much as I'm sure you guys like Marcus Smart and whatever, he can't do that. Like, Chris Paul can do that. Like, I don't know why they would get rid of him and waive him when they have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Like, they need somebody like him, and they're about to find out the hard way that if they have what's his name, Payne, what is his something? What's
Campaign,
his yeah. If Campaign is their point guard, they're screwed for this whole experiment. Chris Paul is a real point guard, so somebody who's not concerned about scoring 30.
I just don't think that the Celtics would have enough depth if they signed Chris Paul, because they're not going to have Brogdon, right?
Vet minimum.
He ain't going to take the vet minimum, dude. He's gonna need at least $20 million, I think. Damn. And that would be Grant's money out the door. And then you can't keep him and Brogdon. So what are you doing there? You're going to need somebody that's a bench scorer. You can't have Marcus Smart leading.
Richard, baby.
Richard's gone, dude.
No, he's not getting. They're not getting rid of him until they see what happens with Brogdon.
Yeah, I think Brogdon's gone. I'll be honest. I think Brogdon's gone.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to afford right there.
He's expensive.
You should go get some money for real.
I mean, take him off the books and we'll see what we got. But I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind. If we take. And I'm just looking down the free agent list right now. Like, got rid of him. I mean, we need some backup bigs, man. That's the biggest thing.
Vooch.
Vooch, we couldn't afford Vooch.
Yeah, this guy is like a 2-time All-Star or the
Kyle Kuzma.
Oh yeah.
I'm very intrigued about what Kyle Kuzma decides to do, because I'm one of the people who actually like Kyle Kuzma. Like, I really am a fan of his game. And I think his size is what helps, because he can literally be small forward, kind of a power forward in today's NBA. He can shoot from distance. When he's not under too many lights, he's a lot better of a player. He's a lot more clutch. I don't know what direction the Wizards are heading in right now, because Kristaps obviously. I think Kristaps did well in Washington, but no one really talked about it because Washington is a trash basketball team, right? So Kristaps on a, when you mentioned the whole Milwaukee thing, I could see that. I could definitely him in Milwaukee would actually make sense. And then somebody like Kuzma. I mean, I don't know. The Lakers should have never lost him, because to me, that's like Kuzma would be a good fit for that Lakers team. He'd be a good fit for the Mavericks too, in my opinion. Like,
I think he'd be I think he'd be a great Grant replacement, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but he's a lot better than that. So
I know, but he's an upgrade.
What is his minutes? You know what I mean?
So let's say the Celtics lose Brogdon, lose Grant, and get Chris Paul and Kuzma.
You're asking for a lot.
I mean, I don't think so. I think the money lines up. I think the money's about right.
Kuzma's looking for a max deal. Well, not max, but he's looking for bread.
But he made $13 million last year. I don't think.
Yeah, because that was his rookie. Wasn't that still on his rookie contract?
Nah.
You sure? How many years has he been in the league?
Because he has a player option this year. Same as Tatum. He's been in the league the same as Tatum.
He's in his 5th year. He's about to go for that big money.
What big money is he getting?
25. Look, man, look. 25 million.
Shirts, that's what he's trying to get.
25, 27.2. He's going to get a Jalen Brunson contract.
$1.
He's going to get it. He's going to go get a Jalen Brunson type of contract.
No way.
No way.
Jalen
Somebody's
Brunson
going to pay him that money, and it's probably going to be Washington.
Okay, well, yeah. In that case, yeah, probably. I could see that. Yeah.
I mean, they got Bradley Beal, who doesn't care about winning championships. Kyle Kuzma, who needs to stay. He can sell tickets over there. They're fine. They'll pay him.
Bradley Beal straight up for Malcolm Brogdon. Who says no?
Oh my God. Sorry, let's not do this.
Let's not do this.
And then also with some of the coaching changes, are there any of them that are like?
Can we quick talk about Seth Curry?
He's available. He's gonna probably end up with the
disrespect. The disrespect.
Okay, go ahead. Talk to me about Seth Curry.
No, I'm just saying. Like,
who would you rather have?
Tremendous
Austin
bench
Reeves
shot
or
shooter.
Seth Curry?
Seth Curry. But Seth Curry is a free agent.
Cam Johnson's available too.
You guys are taking Seth over Austin Reeves?
Yeah, 100%. Austin Reeves is trash.
Jeez, that's a tough crowd. Cam Johnson, he's available.
Holy shit, Seth Curry is a free agent.
But
yes,
all these names I'm taking over Seth Curry. I mean, obviously some of these, Jeremy Grant, come on. Jordan Clarkson. Are you taking Jordan Clarkson or Seth Curry?
Seth Curry.
I'll take
Jordan
Seth
Clarkson.
there. Kelly Oubre, I'm taking him.
Yeah.
No.
I'm taking Kelly Oubre. DeAndre Russell.
I'll probably take Dennis Schroeder over him too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Schroeder's available. Yeah, this Dylan Brooks.
I
think Dylan Brooks is going to be a Celtic.
No, I think he's gonna be a Heat.
Karis LeVert.
Probably a Celtic.
I would take Karis LeVert.
He's going to take Grant Williams minutes.
I would love Dylan Brooks, bro. Are you kidding me?
No, we don't have a leader for that, man.
Yeah,
he's gonna show us a gun.
Yeah, Chris Paul coming.
I would like Roy Hachimura. That's who I really want.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Lakers are not letting that man go.
Nah.
That would be foolish of them to do that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Cam Reddish, Gabe Vince about to get paid somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Josh Hart's got a player option.
Josh Hart, he needs to come over to Philly. That's exactly what we need.
Bruce Brown, Harrison Barnes, Gary Trent.
Don't get my blood level high right now, please.
All right. Oh, were there any coaching changes before we leave the NBA? Were there any coaching changes that made you scratch your head or wow? A-Rod, I'll start with you here.
No, we kind of alluded to it and kind of like expected it too. And you made me believe you're like, oh, they could fire this guy. And I was like, there's no way they're gonna fire him. Sure enough, it happened. So
like
I'll
Monty.
give you your I said Monty. I knew Monty was gonna get fired. As soon as KD went there, like KD will get you fired. KD won't get you a promotion.
Him and
KD,
Kyrie, two of the most skilled basketball players ever, be going into locker rooms and just tearing shit up. But
I think when they got the
Steph
new
and
owner,
LeBron, what's up?
I think when the Suns got the new owner, you knew that if anything went wrong, the coach was gone, because that's not his coach. So
yeah, that makes sense.
but
that was
still,
the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Sorry.
I mean, I think it's dumb too. I think Monty's a coach of men, and like he definitely gets guys to rally around him.
You think guys are gonna rally around Frank Vogel?
No,
I don't. I think they're gonna run circles around Frank Vogel.
Kevin Durant's gonna run circles around him. Oh my god,
I give
this
Frank
poor
Vogel
man.
a year and a half. I give Frank Vogel a year and a half, man. Like I just. He's vanilla yogurt. That's it. You know, you like vanilla yogurt, but he's vanilla yogurt, bro.
Vic.
And
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What is it? Terry Stotts is hired on the bench in Milwaukee. That's a good bench guy to have on your bench coaching. But Adrian Griffin, I don't know. I know I've heard his name the last 3 years talked about.
I've never heard of the guy.
I remember him in the NBA. He was a defensive player. He played with Milwaukee. He played with Houston. But I mean, he's been on benches for a while, and I've heard his name before. So we'll see. I don't think that's the right guy for Giannis, but I think Giannis is just like whatever. As long as you keep the band together, I'm good to go. And I don't think they're gonna let Lopez or Middleton go. I think those guys are gonna stay. And then Nick Nurse for you. Yeah, we'll see what
Middleton to go get some money somewhere and go help like the Orlando Magic or something. I
don't think he wants to help. I think he wants to win championships.
Somebody needs to help the Orlando Magic because they're ready. All I'm saying, they are ready. So a veteran needs to come in, and that team is ready to go. So
they're saying they're really pursuing Gary Trent Jr. That's who they're really looking at.
Makes sense. They should go after Van Fleet. That's what they should do.
Facts.
Did Toronto get a head coach yet or no?
Toronto does not have a head coach yet, so maybe Doc Rivers can go to Canada. I don't know. Vic or Sami, either one of you. Does Nick Nurse change anything for us in your perspective? Because for me, I'm not. God, it doesn't do anything for me. So
it makes viewing those matchups a lot more annoying. Fucking hate Nick Nurse, man. He's the most annoying coach on the sidelines ever. Bitches about every call.
He does.
With that being said, there was a text message I may have sent to Sami saying, "I hope the Celtics get Nick Nurse."
I was already thinking it too. So,
but no, I mean, no, I don't. I think Doc is a good coach. I just think sometimes with Doc he gets lost, and I just don't think he doesn't have.
Do you only think he's a good coach because you won you guys a championship? Because honestly, take that season away, what has he actually done?
That's true. I mean, that's a great point.
He's blown leads. He's had all this talent and only that one ring to show for it.
So in soccer, we have a term for a manager, as you say. He's a good man manager, but he might not have the tactics. So I think that Doc Rivers is a good man manager in terms of personalities and making a team feel cohesive. But he doesn't have the tactics. He's not.
Yeah, it was Tom Thibodeau that won us that championship.
Yeah.
All right, let's relax there.
And A-Rod's alluded to that before, 100%.
So
I believe it.
And Kevin Garnett. I mean, I think he was like a glorified.
That won us the championship. Let's be real.
So then again, Doc Rivers has not done anything.
Okay, right. So I guess he hasn't. Yeah, I guess.
Plain and simple.
15 years.
But I'm really shocked about the Monty Williams thing. I cannot believe that he got shown the door. He just won Coach of the Year like last year, didn't he?
Doc said it best. Don't win Coach of the Year.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm also shocked that I understand why Toronto got rid of Nick Nurse because
I don't.
They wanted.
He wanted out.
Yeah,
he did.
He wanted out.
Okay,
yeah,
good. As long as he wanted out, then that makes sense because that made zero sense to me. But
yeah, and I have full. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have full trust that Toronto's going to be back up there within years. I mean, they got the best GM in the league, in my opinion.
I agree.
Masai, Ujiri.
Nigerian.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But Yeah, I don't think anything shocked me other than the firings. All the signings other than the Heat. I'm sorry, other than the Bucks was pretty, pretty.
You can see. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, you're right.
I'll say I was a little shocked about the Budenholzer, but I wasn't. It was I felt really weird about it because I was like, I mean, I get it, you know what I mean? Because if you lose to an 8 seed as a number 1, and obviously a team that's supposed to just completely dominate, and you collapse so badly.
Yeah, that wasn't Giannis.
It wasn't, but at the same time, when you look at all the other teams that fell after, you're kind of like, well, shit, maybe they shouldn't have fired Budenholzer. Maybe this Heat team is just like we all alluded to, the team of destiny right now in the East, at least. So to me, it felt a little like it was a little too early to make that judgment call on him, given his history and his closeness with Giannis and how he structured that team. And not saying I think he's a great coach. I don't think he's a bad coach either.
I think he's
a
bad coach.
I was shocked.
I was not shocked. If they didn't win that championship 2 years ago, they would have fired him after that season. Like, that one did not shock me because his decision making, I'm like, I never quite understood it. But just like KG won y'all that championship in 2008, Giannis, with his almost torn Achilles, I don't know what the hell happened.
And referees.
Call it what you want. He carried that Milwaukee Bucks to I mean, that game 7. That dude
he carries the ball.
All what you want. It's hard to referee players like that. I'm sorry. Shaq, Giannis, these freakish athletes that do crazy things, you can't ref them. So you call it what you want. I remember watching at the anniversary. I remember watching the 76ers play the Los Angeles Lakers when they played against Shaq. And I saw what the hell Shaq did, what he was doing to Dikembe Mutombo, and what he was doing to Tom McCullough and Matt Geiger. His shoulder, he was dropping his 350-pound shoulder like into their chest, into their face, and the refs can't call shit because what can you do? He's just strong, right? So sometimes it's just hard. It's hard. But yeah, that was the first time I ever cried for sports. It's when the Sixers lost that series because we won game 1. I was like, oh my God, we might do it. And then that was the end of that. So but I'm done talking basketball. Moving on. Let's have some fun. We don't talk enough soccer on this show, but when my dog Lionel Messi is coming to the state of Florida to play soccer for what was it, Inter Miami, that's big news. That is huge news. So I'm gonna start with my soccer guys below me, Vic and or Sami, whoever wants to kick this one off. Let's talk impact. Go.
Go ahead, Vic.
Impact. Oh, I mean, I think we've all been on social media and seen the impact that it's had on prices, ticket prices. Jumping over like 600. Like some prices have
1,000% average right now.
Yeah, $29 to $428 for the first.
Lost their freaking minds.
So very interesting stuff there. He got the Godfather Beckham deal, right? Mm-hmm. So when Beckham first came over to the MLS, they said, "Hey man, come to the MLS. We'll give you all this shit, and on top of that, we'll give you the right to buy an expansion team for like I forget what it was, some ridiculous numbers. Don't quote me on the number, but it was like $50 million, right? Pay $50 million, you get an expansion team. Sure. You know what the buy-in now for an expansion team is like $800 million.
Sheesh.
And he just bought his expansion team, and his expansion team, Inter fucking Miami.
Yes.
So I mean, just imagine the bread that David Beckham is making right now, just because he came and played MLS for 4 seasons. And when he came, he was washed up, right? He was washed up.
He was.
Of course. That's what it's like when like an NBA player goes to Greece just for like the last couple of years for their contract and for money.
Now, let's be honest. We're not getting prime Messi here, but this is still good Messi. Mm-hmm. Okay? He was wanted by Barcelona, right? He was hounded by big dogs. He was offered $1 billion by the Saudis, and he chose to come to Inter Miami. Granted, I'm sure we gave him just as much money.
That's what I was going to ask, because
In the
compare that to like the Ronaldo situation and all these other people getting offered all this money. Like, I mean, do you think it's a money thing, or like, what do you think is going into the decision making?
So I think he's making a long-term play here, and he's saying I can make $1 billion now by going to Saudi, or I can make $2 billion down the road. And that's probably what's going to happen. He's probably going to make more than $1 billion in the long run after all the incentives kick in. Literally every team in the MLS, and I guys, Sami, you did say this earlier. I was able to confirm it. Every team in the MLS is chipping in to get this man into the
wild.
Here's some of the things he gets by signing with Inter Miami. Promises to be the biggest signing in a 27-year history of MLS. Terms include an option of part ownership of Inter Miami, and terms include a cut of revenue from new subscribers to Apple TV MLS Season Pass streaming services.
Jeez Louise,
and he knows it's going to happen.
And
he knows it's going to happen.
About to get broken off.
He's also getting a cut of the Adidas deal too. So he's getting there's a lot of stuff happening here for Messi. So it's not just. I'm happy that they're not stupid enough to give him the same deal that they gave Beckham, because, like I said, that shit was insane.
I mean, it's honestly too for the MLS teams, right? I still think it's absolutely bananas that we're seeing like a deal like that where all the other MLS teams are chipping in. It's like if all the other NFL teams chipped in for the Bucks to get Tom Brady. Right? You know what I mean? Like it's like that weird. But if you really think about it, like these MLS teams know when Messi shows up to our stadium, it's going to be packed.
I'm looking at, or I'm trying to find Orlando City tickets right now.
They're giving them away for free.
Just last week.
Jeez, my heart is warm because I love Messi, right? So for him, he's the most popular dude in the world, right? And he doesn't even live in the United States. We're just catching up on soccer.
He's always here, though. He loves Miami.
Yeah, but what he's going to do for the game of soccer in the United States of America, especially like in Miami, where it's like, it's a strong Latino population. It's like, he's about to really help the game a lot. The World Cup, isn't it? When is the World Cup coming to the U.S.?
2026 is in the U.S. We also have the Copa America in 24.
Yeah.
If you look at it, Argentina has also, as the Argentinian national team, has put a lot of eggs in growing their market share in the U.S. They just did a deal with Apple TV. I think that all their national team games are going to be streaming on there.
Yep.
So they have really doubled down on the United States as a market, and just bringing over Messi is just icing on that cake for them, saying, okay, great, this is how we grow it. Now, this is huge. This is, I mean, Zlatan came over, what was it, 2 years ago, and absolutely dominated the league at his old age. Dominated.
And he was washed at that time.
He was washed, exactly.
And now Messi's coming. And I think we're going to – and Drogba did the same thing. Drogba, when he first came, dominated. I think it was like the leading goal scorer.
Rooney. Dominated.
This is going to be – we're going to see a level of domination that we have never seen before.
In our backyard.
I think
you know what it is, though? What also is good about it? It's a kick. And it'll be a good transition to the next thing you want to talk about. But it's a kick in the nuts to the Saudis is what it really is, man. Because right now, the Saudis are paying – they gave Benzema, 3 years for an NFL cap?
$600 million, yeah.
He's making what their entire NFL team is making in a year.
And it's crazy to me. I think Vic made a really good point, and you're like kind of alluding it to A-Rod, and why Messi would turn down a Saudi deal versus a United States deal. And I think it's the situation that Vic's talking about, where this is the connections. This is how he grows his brand.
Yeah.
When you're in Saudi, it's a very close-knit group of people, right? You can't really get into that circle. In the United States, you are the circle now.
Yeah.
Like, you are the center of this entire soccer universe. Not even just that, but everything else that comes with playing and being in the United States of America. you know, if you want to be buddies with the sheiks and stuff like that, yeah, you might be able to, but maybe you won't get a team. You won't get these ownership deals because they like to keep it family owned, all this other stuff. It's just the Arab culture. You know what I mean? They're very, A-Rod, you know, like Arabs are very cliquey, you know, and they're very like concerned with who they bring into their circles. So with this deal, it's more of Messi thinking about his long-term future rather than just, oh, I can make a quick bill.
And on top of that, Sammy, he's going to be the face of American soccer as a non-American.
Yeah.
I guess he's technically American, South American, but you know what I mean. Not as a United States citizen. You know, he's not a USMNTer. He's still going to be the face of American soccer. And I think that David Beckham was the first step, right? And then we had all these other guys, the Kakas, the Carlos Velas, you know, the Pirlos come over, and then set the stage for this. Now, am I saying that Messi's going to come over and now finally, you know, the MLS is going to be the fourth biggest league? No, it's not. But it's another step in the right direction of becoming quality players. I think that the MLS, not right now, but could be on track to being the type of league that the Eredivisie is in the Netherlands, where you have these young guys that are these young guys that are coming in, and then, you know, some stars that didn't pan out, and then you know the guy, you know who the guys I'm talking about, Sammy, like the guys that are playing on what's that? Not RB Leipzig, the other one, the other Red Bulls. PS like PSV Eindhoven.
Oh, PSV Eindhoven, Ajax,
like those clubs, right? So you got good players that didn't necessarily pan out, and then they go to the Eredivisie, they kind of level up, and then they go back out into the Premier League. Maybe the MLS can end up being that type of league.
Yeah.
In a few years. So I think Messi coming over is huge. I think it's going to bring up the level of competition and hopefully put some money in the owner's pocket so they're willing to spend more on better players. So we're hoping. I mean, there's already good players here in the MLS right now, just not obviously not even close to the quality of Messi or other leagues. But you look at a guy like Thiago Almada in Atlanta, who was getting looked at by clubs in Europe, and in fact was getting looked at by Napoli. So we're a great exporting league as of right now in terms of talent, but we're just lacking on the import. And I think right now we're getting in that type of quality player in Messi, and hopefully this opens up the floodgates to better players. So I think he's going to dominate, though, absolutely dominate.
And it's nice to always, you know, get all these, you know, old guys from other countries, but like, how are we going to fix how close are we to fixing getting our own homegrown talent within our own cities of like Miami and Atlanta? And I mean, obviously there's athletes in all these cities, right?
Right.
How does Messi impact that?
I mean, I'm sure he absolutely will. I'm sure he's going to grow the game more than it already is, right? But you know, right now the U.S. is on a good track right now. We're never going to be France, right? We're never going to, because we don't have colonies. But you know, we could end up being, you know, like a mid-table team where we're, you know, getting into the quarterfinals of the World Cup eventually. We just had our U20 team, unfortunately, just losing the U20 World Cup to Uruguay 2-0. But before that, they looked like world beaters. I mean, we looked incredible. I was pleasantly surprised. And then, of course, coaching let us down. I'm more concerned, KK, about finding the next great American coach than I am about finding the next great American player. I think we don't at this time have a manager that is Premier League level. That is, even though we had Jesse Marsh, I was hoping that was him. It's not. We need a guy that is that quality, that caliber to lead us into the next step. And hopefully Messi's that guy that inspires that coach one day.
Inspiring coaches and players. That's impressive. Sammy, you got anything to add?
No, I think Vic Vic touched on it. My only thing is that if you're talking about how will the United States ever kind of like take that next level, I think it's tough when you try to compare the MLS to the Eredivisie. And I know what Vic's trying to allude to, but the difference between the Eredivisie that MLS doesn't have is the Eredivisie gets the experience to play in the Champions League. If there is some way that an MLS team or MLS players can find a way to play against those guys in a serious game, I think you will see more of an impact. But obviously, trying to start a
Champions League, okay, buddy?
Oh yeah, but yeah, you know what I'm trying to say though,
Yeah.
and I want it to grow. I do, I really do. Trust me. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's a very valid.
It's tough being on this side of the pond. You know what I mean?
Correct. And now speaking on, do you want to add anything? Because I'm about to kind of keep it within these sides of the pond thing.
I just last point. I'm sorry, I know we've gone long on this, but I just want to point out what an excellent point that was that Sami just made about the Champions League. I didn't even think about that, but that's a fantastic point. And on top of that, that's probably why we don't see very many leagues outside of Europe being top leagues, right? I mean, right now, all top 5 leagues are in Europe.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's changing anytime soon, but maybe we could be 6.
There's also no relegation too in the United States.
No relegation. And I don't think there ever will be, but it is what it is.
Why do you even play? Ted Lasso.
We're talking about different sides of the pond. Just quick transition over to the game of golf. Now, last year, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I've been nerding out about this whole situation since the beginning. So this is something I've followed extremely closely because it was like last year there was no basketball anymore. There was no football free agency. Baseball was in that that part of the year where it's like, all right, let's get to August, let's get to September, and then this LIV thing comes out and it drops. I mean, it's like a bombshell that changed everything with golf. And you got players picking sides. Players going to go chase the bag, like Ronaldo, for example. So, and all this talk was about, why would they go take money from this and that kind of person? And, we had these 9/11 families come on. And we have all these people speaking out against LIV, and Tiger Woods turns down $800 million. And all this shit happens only for them to merge. So, again, it blew my mind when I saw that news. I didn't think it's not that I didn't think it was going to happen. It was how quickly it all came together. Because how closely I've been watching this. I didn't hear anything that would have alluded this would happen in June of 2023. It was just it blew my mind. So, where are you guys at with the whole controversy between the two sides? Because I have my own opinions that I want to provide. But I want to hear you guys first. And I will start with you, Sami, actually.
I have no idea. I'll let A-Rod go.
Okay.
Saudis won a war finally. That's what I can say. They finally won a war. And I mean, it was inevitable. I mean, I feel like golf is just like the most unified sport. They're not going to allow it to be competitive and be one-sided. And I sent y'all that funny ass meme earlier with the holes. It said, what was it? PJ's controlling holes 1 through.
Oh
yeah.
That was a bad taste.
Saudis are holding 9 through 11. What a deal. But like it's like a sport that's stuck in its ways. And honestly, I know me, Vic, and Sami, we go golfing and we enjoy it. I personally hate watching it. I think golf is the most boringest sport. There's nothing fun about
boring. It. You need to give it a chance. I'm telling you, I love golf.
I play it. Trust me. I play it, and the goal was to be better than Vic, and I'm never going to be that anytime soon, man. That was my goal from day one. And if anything, Vic has been like the greatest teacher I've had. Thank you, Vic. Giving you your proper, bro. Sami fixes me. Vic made me. That's the way I say it. So, but like golf is like it just doesn't like, I know it's fun for certain people, but like there's nothing exciting. Like you have to be quiet. There's a guy talking like this. Like there's just
Sam,
nothing.
you did a good job there. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's boring. It's just very boring. The whole
Meanwhile, LIV, they got music playing. They got
celebrities out there. Like they make it entertaining.
Yeah.
So entertaining that you see all these social media pages popping up of like funny clips of golfing and like how painful it is to go golfing. Like you see all of that, but before it was just like, oh, golf is a respectable sport. Kind of like tennis. Tennis is, to me, we know Serena Williams is very, very dominant and good at what she does, but there's only going to be one tennis league, and it's very boring. And like, I'm not trying to like put it in that category, but it's like a rich man sport. It's like, if you're not rich, don't even bother watching this. Don't have the dreams and aspiration of this. But then King Richard will go kill you and say, look what my daughters did. So I don't know. It was inevitable for it to be done because I just knew the PJ wasn't gonna allow this to go on much longer. But crazy to know that it did last that long, and what was going on. And I liked LIV. I liked what they were doing over there. So,
well, take it from like from the perspective of like the people who are so anti merger, right? Like what they've alluded to, from everything across the board, from 9/11 to human rights issues and all that. How, like, where do you think? How do you think the argument is going to be handled between that? Because if I had anyone to kind of add my input, right, I feel like we all pick and choose what we want to be vocal about. We all pick and choose what we want to be angry about, because unfortunately, the majority of the stuff that we buy, watch, have is probably controlled by the same people that you're anti against for this merger, right? So it's like, I mean, the Saudis have a lot of money, and a lot of it comes from oil and all that stuff. So it's like, like, what are you going to do? Like, not buy T-shirts made from Saudi Arabia anymore? You're not going to, you're not going to do, like, it's just, you can't pick and choose your battles when it comes to this kind of stuff. And then my other issue that I had was like the players that were so anti LIV, and vice versa. The LIV players who were making fun of the PGA players, is like, now they're all together again. They have to be on the same team. Like, how is that relationship going to be? Because, like, people turn down big money to stay with the PGA, and now it's only for them to have to still be in the LIV Tour anyway. So it's like, to me, there's a lot of it's gonna be a while before this gets resolved, because, like, think about it. Tiger Woods turned down $800 million only for them to merge. Can you imagine he took that $800 million and they still merge? It's like, not that he needs it, but damn, that's extra almost $1 billion in his pocket. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with everything. It's just that it's caused a lot of tension, and I mean,
coupons. It's fun coupons to the Saudis, man. They're walking through their backyard and, oh, oil, more money for us. What can we go do now? Yeah. So the way I see it is like, with all these people that are upset about things, Bob Dylan wrote a song called "The Times Are Changing." They must not have heard that song. Just get with the times, man. Yeah. Just like there's multiple basketball leagues. It just happens to be that the NBA is the most dominant one. It's the one you want to go play for. All these other ones.
So what happens if Saudi Arabia wants to buy the NBA?
They're coming.
Hey, man, they're coming. They are.
Yeah, we know. How do we know?
They're running out of soccer teams to buy, so they're going to start coming this way.
Yeah, they're trying to expand soccer and blow the Saudi Arabia. I mean, the first domino was Cristiano Ronaldo, big guy that you get over there, and now you're getting Karim Benzema, and who's the other guy, the other French guy?
N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, Kante. Kante's going to play over there too, and now they're trying to get all these other ones. So like the Saudis know. Like Sami said and alluded to earlier, it's a close knit. like it's all in the family. Like, it doesn't move, the money doesn't move out the family. Like, everything goes in between the sheiks. Like, it's hard to get in with that. But if the at the end of the day, money is the root of all evil. Money is gonna do what money does, and if you can sell for a stupid amount of money and profit off of it, they're going to do it. So it sucks that it's merging, because now, it looks stupid. You're talking all this shit, and now you're going into the clubhouse or to, have a beer with these guys. You're like, hey,
you don't have a choice though. You want a job because this is your job.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's not like so many, like, you could be a car salesman and work for a lot of different car dealerships. When you're a golfer, there's only a couple ways you can go where you can make money, unless you're a gambler, like, and you play for like $1,000 a ball. Like, that's a different story. But this is their job, so they don't really have a choice in the matter.
I know like your employer is the PGA Tour, but I feel like golf is an individual. It is an individual sport. You're basically paid. I mean, and this is my assumption. I don't know how they make all this money. I know there's like tournament money that they make from a pool at the end. But I feel like off of like their marketing for themselves as well, like all the sponsorships they get and stuff, they make.
It's like UFC. That's where they make the biggest part of their money. It's not really from the purse, but it's from everything that comes with getting a purse.
They're all independent contractors, so like you're under this governing body, but you're free to go do what you want. So it's like,
but you still have to be under the governing body.
But you're still under the guys of that. So we'll see how that all ends up. And it's a funny thing, but there's not. I don't know. I'm the nerd, so I'll be watching it closely, and then I'll be lending out some tweets about it. So
I just personally, real before I just think it's boring. I think PGA, if anything, they should take some stuff from that happened with LIV and try and incorporate that. Be like, okay, let's get a little more entertaining, a little more fun instead of this fucking. And we're on the 19th hole.
But the problem is that golf is boring, and that Tiger Woods for 20 years dominated the sport and dominated the ratings. And I got into golf because of that. Now, do I watch as much golf without Tiger Woods? No, it's tough because I don't have a guy that I'm cheering for yet, right? But like on a Sunday from like 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. on for a Masters, like that time is so exciting because you get to watch to see.
Bro, it's because they're all white guys, man. Like,
it's not that, but it's like you get to watch like how much cojones they have. Like you got somebody breathing down your neck who's having a great Sunday, and you've been in the lead for these last 3 days, and then you see people just missing routine shit, like missing 3-foot putters.
Go golfing with Vic.
Damn, I need to figure that out, right? But like I don't know, I find that so exciting because I like to watch individuals and how they handle pressure moments. So. And I saw Tiger Woods dominate pressure moments. So
you might get canceled for me saying this on your podcast, but I mean, everybody wanted to see Tiger Woods take back from the white people, man. I mean, that was what the greatest part about it was. He was whooping everybody's ass. They were all white dudes, and he was killing them all.
Meanwhile, he didn't know how to identify.
He did what he did.
He didn't know what to identify with, though. He didn't know how to. He was a compilation, so he didn't know how to identify himself. So that's another story. But let's get to some quick hitters. In baseball, injuries, deGrom, shit. Like what?
We all did that.
It's like what the hell, right? Are there any other concerning injuries for you guys? I know what's going on with Judge.
So, and also LA's fence. So fix that fence, fuckers.
But
catch.
Is it concerning though? Are you concerned at all?
No, I'm not. I think he'll be back relatively quickly. Yeah, that's the only one that I really have that I think is concerning, or outside of what's his face, deGrom. deGrom is just, it's unfortunate because we always talk about like the Jacob deGrom effect. I'll go out there and pitch 9 innings of 1-run ball when I'm with the Mets, and then I lose every game that I pitch 1-run ball because that stupid team that we paid all this money for can't score any runs. And then I always blamed it on the Mets training staff. Now we go out here to Texas and first game of the season gets shellacked and then goes through the season. And then finally he's got Tommy John. And he was emotional. It sucks. But I honestly think it's him. I think he puts too much stress on his body and he goes out there and doesn't know how to like control the arm. I mean, I was never a pitcher, so I couldn't allude to like how they play. So I know he throws hard. He throws accurate, and to throw hard and accurate, you've got to be precise and let your arm go in lane. It's probably just not connecting right. So,
and this is his second Tommy John, right?
I think it's his third.
Third?
He's the second or third. One of those.
You think when he comes back, will there ever be any kind of level of dominance from him again, or is he just going to be just another guy for the rest of his career?
I think he'll be good.
Okay. I think he'll be good. I think he'll be
not great.
I don't think he'll be as dominant as he is because I think the Rangers like window is very small, to be honest with you, unless the talent. I mean, the players are playing great. I can't take that away from them. But when you take your ace, the guy that you went in free agency and got out of the picture, But then again, Evaldi's there, who's like a cockroach and that just survives. That guy, yeah. I'm sorry, Sammy. I know it's gonna hurt you to hear that. Like he's the MLB's Jimmy Butler. You don't hear about him in the regular season, and when postseason comes, you're gonna hear about him because he shines and he's really, really good. But I don't know. I think that's a big confidence boost. I know they're one in their division, and the Astros are just sniffing, and the Angels are there too. And
when Altuve coming back?
Huh? I think Altuve is back.
He is?
I think he is back, yeah.
When?
I think he came back. I don't know if he went on the IL again, but like I know he was back. They activated him. But
and Jacob deGrom is 34 years old, so he'll be playing again like at 36?
Yeah, most likely.
He's starting to get up there. So I don't know. That it seems a little tough there.
It just
Red Sox, you guys have anything going on? How you feeling about the squad?
Chris Sale. He's hurt again. But again, another player, 34 years old.
Yeah.
And let me ask you guys this, because Vic
hates him.
Vic hates him, and I get why. He has his reasons why. But at the time that the trade was made, or that the move was made for Chris Sale, we won a championship. Was that move successful?
What has Yohan Moncada done, anyways?
No. It has nothing to do with Yohan Moncada. It has nothing to do with Michael Kopech. Here's what it has to do. He led to the biggest cap inflation for the Red Sox in the history of the fucking team.
He did not. Dave Dombrowski did.
He's the reason why we paid him. He's the reason why we paid Nate Eovaldi. He's the reason why we paid David Price. All three of those guys led to the ejection of Bogarts, Benintendi, and Mookie Betts.
Okay, first off,
hurts.
y'all were singing to get Benintendi out of there, so don't come to his defense when he did kind of good. Because I remember you guys saying he's got to go, he sucks, this, and that, and just because he sucks again. Don't worry, he sucks again over there with the White Sox. Like the White Sox, they're like the Padres of the Central.
You and I talked about it. We ruined him. You
did ruin him. But I think the Red Sox, in my humble opinion, I think the trade you did for Chris Sale was great because you got a championship in return.
That's what you play for.
Yes, and you had a solid.
This isn't. We haven't gone 86 years without a championship. This isn't.
Okay, but Moncada and Kopech have got nothing. They haven't even sniffed the playoffs.
There's nothing to do with that.
Nothing. You got nothing. Don't worry about it. You get to the playoffs constantly. Like, it's hard to win championships. Okay, when you're taking for granted, like we say it all the time. Michael Jordan ruined the NBA because you saw the Bulls go over and over and over and over again. Kobe Bryant and Shaq and the Lakers during that stretch and all of that. They were paying for shit. Okay, y'all have money. Y'all just decided to go the little hat route, and you want to go get Bloom.
We're 15th in salary right now, which is really crazy.
Who'd you go get as your GM? Yeah. Exactly, from the Rays. Who knows what he's doing?
Solid.
You know what he's doing? How many times have you been in the playoffs with Chaim Bloom? How many times have you been out of the first round of the playoffs with Chaim Bloom as our GM? I think he sucks.
And he's shedding payroll because who put you in the fucking hole? Who put you in the foxhole?
Dombrowski. I hated Dombrowski.
Okay, so
I saw a stat the other day that showed JD Martinez OPS right now is 971. I think Bogarts, I think he got hurt, but before he got hurt, he was batting like 3-something.
Michael Wacha and
Nate Eovaldi's 8-2.
Don't even Michael Wacha.
Michael Wacha's 6-2.
Don't even Michael Wacha bullshit.
Michael Wacha is
not a Red Sox. He's a fucking Cardinal. Don't. That guy's an anomaly.
No, just saying those are guys that we had on our team that we got rid of for what? Because there's nothing else on this roster.
James Paxton, the big maple, he shows up sometimes. I'm not saying he's great, but he's just as good as Wacha. He's just as good as whoever else you're gonna say. The kid Bello's gonna pan out as long as you.
Dude, we're like rotating guys from the minor leagues for our 5th spot right now.
Yeah.
We have probably the second or third biggest baseball market in the United States. And we don't have a team that can make the playoffs in the last 3 years. Okay? This is not Red Sox baseball.
No, it's not. I agree.
This is not 1990 anymore. I'm not the hapless guy that's just happy to be in the playoffs and, oh, shucks, we lost the Yankees again. we have shed that curse already.
Yeah.
We need to be competing for championships year after year. And in a sport that doesn't have a salary cap, that means that we should be at the top every year. Okay? And if you don't want to put the money and you want to spend your money on Liverpool and fuck around in the EPL.
Not even doing that.
Go ahead. But just leave us alone. And don't put LeBron James in your ownership group. Know your fan base, you piece of shit. Sell the team. Fuck you, John Henry.
Honestly, though. That's a shame. I had a friend text me, and I know we started talking about the Rays with him, but he was texting me, and he said he made a really good point, and something that I'd said, I was like, yeah, that's why we're all pissed, is Boston shouldn't be in 5th place.
Mm-hmm.
We should be competing for second.
It doesn't help that the AL East has gotten just that much better. Like the Rays, obviously, like from a managerial standpoint, they're just fantastic, right? The Orioles have gotten exponentially. They used to be a doormat for the last few years, where that's a guaranteed victory. They're second. I mean, they're only 6 games behind the Rays. The Yankees they still have all that talent, and then the Blue Jays, they're always going to be just good enough. So it's not like there's a team in the AL East that's like, we think you can walk over anymore. Like same thing like the AFC East in football. Like it used to be like the Patriots. You knew you were going to get 6 wins in your division, maybe 5. It's not like that anymore.
I get that, and I get it's a business, and you want to shed payroll. But here's the thing about owning a sports team: it's a little bit different than owning any other business, right? Because you have like a contingency, or what's the word for it? I'm thinking of using in politics.
A base?
Yeah, we have a base, right? Of people that are looking to you to run the team a certain way. And you see this a lot in Europe, where fans of soccer teams have a lot more agency in what the team does in Europe and European soccer than here in the United States. I mean, it is just ridiculous how out of touch John Henry and that Fenway ownership group are with Red Sox fans. It's disgusting, to be honest with you, because cut salary, but maybe don't jack up ticket prices every fucking game. I mean, to get in to standing room only, just to like a Wednesday game is like $150. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? And we're not even.
It's a glorified museum.
Exactly, and that's why you're seeing, a lot of these Red Sox games. I don't know if you've been watching on TV. They're not sellouts, dude. There's nobody going to these games because there's no direction from ownership to want to get better other than shedding payroll and trying to get better the shitty way, like the Rays do it. Why are we trying to be the Rays? We're not the Rays, okay? We're the Red Sox. It's Red Sox Nation for a reason. It's not Red Sox, we used to sell out stadiums in other cities, right? So I don't understand what's going on here. I just really don't. Sam, maybe you can help.
No, I mean, I think it's actually really accurate what you said, because I mean, I listen to a lot of Boston sports radio. I listen to a lot of what the vibes are, what people are calling in, and everybody's saying like, why the fuck am I going to spend $150 to go to a game where the ownership doesn't do anything for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's something a Tampa Bay Rays fan will say, like, oh, I don't want to travel across the bridge.
Yeah.
Now it's to a point where the fans, like, I know it took this long, but now it's getting to the point where the fans are like, why am I going to, what product is this? I mean, I'm going to watch Yoelis Rodriguez. I don't know who the fuck that is pitching for me right now. Like, what am I doing? Like, yeah, the Masataka Yoshida signing was cool and fun. It wasn't a huge name, right? Yeah. But he turned out to be pretty good. What the hell else is out there? Rafael Devers. The only reason why they did that was because they probably would have lost everyone if we lost both Bogarts and Devers. That was more of a, okay, we can't lose them both. So the fans are pissed, and Vic said it perfectly. Like, yeah, you're seeing less and less people. I watch a lot on MLB TV, and I'm like, wow, it's a good amount of seats there.
Yeah,
there is.
How would you compare it to like the Padres, right? Like they spend all this money, right? And they're nowhere near the top of their division, right? So it's like, man, if you think about it, the Padres on paper have no business being 29-33, right? And you guys on paper, 31-30 would be first place in the Central, right? So it's like there's so many ways to look at it. But like, do you think like Padres fans, like how do you think they feel knowing that the management is actually trying and they still can't figure it out?
I feel like they will. If I was a fan of them, I'd be like, we'll figure it out. We have the talent. The talent is there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure it out. It's a long season. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
The problem is the Red Sox aren't spending like they usually do. The Red Sox are typically a spending organization.
Yeah.
Every year it's like this
15th in payroll, man.
Yeah. And it's not even that. It's like they know the players to get. I know we shun on organizations that are big time when they go and get a guy and it doesn't pan out. Like it just doesn't work. That's very rare. But historically, the Red Sox have gone and got the right guys. They got David Ortiz. Okay, if you think David Ortiz was homegrown, no, they got him from the Minnesota Twins, and ever since then, ran away with it. You know, they got Mike Lowell. They got all the right pieces and players to put around. So for them not to spend, like I know they went and got Trevor Story. I feel like that was a panic move, and we were talking about that too when that happened. We're like,
terrible.
If something happens with Bogarts, this is the replacement right here.
And he's hurt.
And he's hurt. He's always hurt. But they're bringing up prospects, trying to do like what the Rays do. I mean, Duran didn't pan out last year. Now he's having a pretty good year. You know, Dahlbeck and Casas, pick your poison, sit them both down. Like it's I don't know. It's just it's embarrassing to go out there and like if the Red Sox don't have like 2 starters in the All-Star game, you know, or at least like 3 All-Stars on the team, like
then what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are you, it's I don't even know who your second baseman is that was out there. Kike Hernandez does everything for that team except sell popcorn and peanuts. Like he plays every position for them. So it's crazy.
And you know what the thing is with the Red Sox is, I know KK, you said that the AL East is getting better, but we used to buy those other teams, right? We would buy the Carl Crawfords. We would buy those. Oh guys.
No, trust me,
Bro, that's brilliant.
Rosarena will be a Red Sox in the next 2 years.
Toronto wouldn't have half the players they have. Baltimore wouldn't have half the players they have. Yes. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And that's the thing is we're just letting these guys go instead of outspending them and getting better. Alex Cora has done a great job, I think, with the shitty roster that he has. Like Sammy said, we are rotating not even just for the 5th starter, Sammy, just for the 9th fucking hitter. We're rotating guys up and down, AAA. You know, we just called up Marcelo Meyer to Double A. I wouldn't be surprised if we force his ass into fucking.
That kid might be on a major league roster soon.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here? And it's just there was a day where a player like Marcelo Meyer wouldn't sniff Fenway Park until he was at least 23 and already a multiple-time AAA All-Star.
I mean, and even Casas, I feel bad for that kid too. Like, yeah. He's still not even really ready.
No, and I'm glad you brought the Durant thing about last year, A-Rod, because he wasn't ready, right? But he gets pushed into service too early because we got an ownership group that's pinching their wallets too tight and won't fucking spend money, man. Like, what are we doing? In the LeBron thing, I'm just gonna go back to LeBron thing. That pisses me off so much. I'm not even a LeBron hater, but like know your fan base, right? Ugh.
You gotta learn as you go. He's only 38. I mean, he's not like these real big time execs where they're like 50. You know, he didn't go to college either, so gotta give him some time.
Wait, Ken Bloom didn't even go to college? We didn't get a fucking resume from this guy? What the fuck are we doing?
Oh well. Listen, it's gonna be okay. All right, like just give it. You guys are just going through little growing pains.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about baseball is like the original GM that Keim Bloom worked under went to the Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
And what happened? He said, "Fuck the Rays' way of winning. I have payroll galore, and I'm going to spend it, and I'm going to get players."
Right.
And he's winning. He's like,
and he's not mortgaging his future either.
Right.
He's not.
They have young guys coming up. He's not Dombrowski. Fucking Dombrowski.
Now, speaking of young players, we're not going to talk about the Red Sox anymore, guys, because this is not Townie Sports. The hype is real around this Elly De La Cruz kid. Like, He went 2 for 4 today, homer, triple. He hit a homer in the bottom of the first inning, like his first start. I think because he didn't start yesterday, did he?
Yeah, he did. He started at third.
Okay. Well, he started today. 2 RBIs, 2 runs, a triple, a home run. Like it's the hype is definitely real, right? Now looking at all the young talent in baseball right now, where would you kind of place him in comparison to everybody else, like the Julio Rodriguez's and in general?
I mean, he's top 10 for me. Like his name has been out there for a while, but the problem with the Reds is like they do what the Red Sox are doing right now. They consistently put out a shitty, or I shouldn't say consistently, but they put out a shitty product.
Mhm.
They'll keep Joey Votto for the life of him. Like if I'm the Reds right now, I'm telling Joey Votto, you're going on your farewell tour, bro, because the farm is about to explode. They've got a lot of prospects. They got that Elly De La Cruz kid. They got McLean, who's also a shortstop. They got Spencer Steer. They got this other guy they got from the Mariners, Novelli Marte, who's supposed to be an amazing shortstop. So like they have all these guys that they gotta find a place for. They also got a guy Encarnacion Strand or something like that. He's a third baseman. All these infielders that they're not bringing up, So if they're smart, you start trading some of these guys and getting the pieces around you. But I mean, this kid, yeah, I mean, it's his second game and he hit a home run. Okay, cool. I mean, whatever. Let's not suck his dick just yet.
Did you hear the call?
Bro, it's amazing. Congratulations.
The dude said that ball had a family.
That's a great call.
I was okay.
He hit it 458 feet.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's big time.
We saw with O'Neal Cruz. That guy hits like piss rockets, man.
I'm glad you brought up O'Neal Cruz because I want to talk about something more high level with you guys. That's what I love to do, right? Go take something small and go high level. Can we talk about the shift in infielders over 6'5" now? I mean, we got Jordan Walker coming up from the St. Louis organization. We got the Cruz guys, right? That are both over 6'5" as well. These infielders are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Is this the trend that we're going to see now with just monsters in the infield?
Damn,
I think
never even thought about that. Go ahead, A-Rod.
I think you said Walker, right? For the
Jordan Walker, yeah.
Yeah, my biggest, I think it's like getting where you fit in, and if the organization respects your position, they'll let you play it. Jordan Walker's a third baseman by trade, but you think he's going to start over Nolan Arenado?
Probably not, but I'm saying he's an infielder. So by trade, he's playing outfield right now, but he's an infielder by trade.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, I mean, we can talk about that. I just think there's a dime a dozen that are like that. I mean, I think O'Neal Cruz is a freak of nature. There's no reason a shortstop should ever be like that. But I mean, it is, and you have to respect it. I respect the Pirates more for allowing him to play shortstop and say, hey, man, this might be better on your knees in the long run. We're going to move you to center field or this, and that. Like, I applaud that. But the Pirates have been shitty for so long. Roll whatever works out there. And you're number one in your division right now.
I like what the Pirates are doing.
Me too.
Yeah,
I don't know what the Pirates are doing, but it's working. I really don't. You couldn't tell me they would be good. Like, name me 5 players outside.
It's not about naming but like you can just see there's like a shift in like you can see a shift in like energy and just
you know what it is. McCutchen coming home, getting the veteran leader to rally the boys, the kids.
And what do I say about veterans?
We say, what's going on in Pittsburgh? Exactly.
and to your point, to the original question, KK, Elly De La Cruz is listed 4th on MLB's top 100 prospects. I'm completely with A-Rod here. He's the baseball mind that I listen to the most. So if he says he's fine, let's let it go. I'll take his word for it and just say let's see what happens with the kid.
My only problem with Cincinnati is they just brought up 3 prospects. You just brought up 3. You started Steer beginning of the season. You brought McLean up. and everybody in our fantasy leagues went in like, oh my god, I gotta get this guy, and everyone's been stashing like Elly De La Cruz like a fucking hot pocket in the back of the freezer.
I wish I had him.
Yeah. So no, it's one game, man. These kids, yes, like let them, like Novelli Marte is coming too, but where are you going to put all of them? That's the problem. And then you've got Joey Votto, who's like the face of the franchise. You've got to be smart about this. Have a designated position and don't move them around. Like this guy, Elly De La Cruz, he's a great shortstop, but they've been putting him at third base. And then they're I don't know, man. My biggest take in baseball is like, if you got a guy who's a natural out of position, I respect your organization if you respect his position and you bring him up when the time's ready. But if you're one of those teams like kind of like the Red Sox are doing right now, just pinching your wallets and force feeding like, oh, this kid's hitting in the minors, let's turn him into an outfielder. Like, I don't know, man. Unless like the guy is all for that, but I don't know.
You know, the Reds have 6 players in their farm system right now in the top 100 prospects. You know what? You know what team is the only other team
the Red Sox, I'm guessing.
No, it's not even close. It's the Baltimore Orioles. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players in the top 100.
Hey, you suck for long enough. It pays off.
They're guilty of forcing a player in the bigs too, like Grayson Rodriguez. You forced him in, and he turned into a piñata. So I think the smart way to do it with these starting pitchers is like kind of. I know you're gonna hate to hear this, Vic. It's gonna suck to hear it, but you're gonna hear it. Like what the White Sox did. You know, they felt Chris Sale was ready, but they didn't turn him over to the dogs. They put him in the bullpen. Get him into experience, low leverage situation, high leverage situation. Then they roll him out as a starter and he's an ace, you know? So I think that's smart if you want to do that with your pitchers. But hey, Grayson, you're coming up to pitch. We're going to do your major league debut. You're going to play against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Have at it, kid. Like, come on.
That's not very wise.
Yeah. I'm not talking about a well-run organization. The Dodgers have 7.
The Dodgers, they're smart. They're a very smart organization. And they're all pitchers too, I bet. Most of them are pitchers.
I'll tell you right now, hold on. I'm so upset by that because they have everything.
Well, of course. They're well-run.
They're 3 pitchers, A-Rod, and 1 catcher, 1 second baseman, 1 outfielder.
There goes the catcher. The second baseman is Miller.
Yeah, no, the second baseman's Bush.
Or Bush, I mean, Miller's the pitcher.
Yeah, and our favorite player, Andy Page, is the outfielder.
Yeah,
and Dalton Rushing is the other catcher.
Yeah,
This is some high level baseball talk, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball all day, man.
But here's the thing: is like that's how you construct a team, right? You literally make trades, and when you make trades, you don't get rid of shit. Any of these players, the Red Sox could have got for Mookie Betts, but didn't.
Yeah. I think all GMs, and then we're going to move on. I think all GMs should have to play football. They have to play Madden on franchise mode. They need to all play those 2K modes and EA Sport and all of that because I feel like I learned a lot from that game, and then I see what these GMs are doing. I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, how is your organization ran so bad? Why is your cap number, like your cap hit this high? Like, and I just learned that from playing a damn video game. I didn't even go to school for any of this shit. So it's like I feel like they need to be successful in the game first. Then I can trust maybe you know how to run a real team because like it's not easy.
I'm just so sad right now.
It's all right. It's all right. All right. Really quick.
Red Sox suck.
Just one word answer. DeAndre Hopkins ends up where, A-Rod? Please don't say Tennessee.
Kansas City.
Vic.
New England.
Oh, Sammy.
Patriots.
Do you think this Tennessee news is it just like he's just finally taking visits, or do you think there's something there? Because apparently he has like a very good relationship with Patricia.
Really? He has a good relationship with Matt Patricia?
So apparently, him and Matt Patricia are real close.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, dude, I think he's talking about Mike Vrabel.
Oh, Vrabel.
Oh, Vrabel. My bad.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
I was gonna say,
Wrong Patriot. They all look the same to me. With Vrabel.
No,
not Coach Pencil. Vrabel. My bad.
Vrabel. I was confused for a second. I was really.
That's
confused.
my bad.
I was like,
we're not gonna edit this out, but I should.
I think he's just doing his tour. I think he's seeing who wants his services, what he can fetch on the market, because we said like he's got to make a decision. Does he want a ring chase? Does he want to get paid? And
Bill O'Brien?
Yeah, exactly. Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien loved him.
He did love him. He did. But he's probably just seeing what he can get and what this team will make an offer towards him. So world tour.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wishful thinking with the Patriots, but that was my one word answer. That's
all right, cool. And then next question, because I got you guys on the show, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but gambling in the NFL has been running rampant lately. Isaiah Rodgers, the latest victim of
been rampant in soccer too.
I haven't paid. Oh yeah, you're right. It has been happening. So just talk about football, soccer and football, like with all these athletes gambling. Like what do you think is contributing to that when they know it's like it's like the steroid area. It's like eras. Like you might get caught, but they're still trying it anyway.
You're looking at the internet, right? I mean, now we're kind of going high level. You're looking at the internet, what it allowed us to do in pretty much every facet of life, right? And I think that's what made gambling so prevalent now. Yeah. And especially if you're looking across the entire country, it's so much easier to find any sort of gambling site, any way to gamble. You ask probably 1 out of every 2 to 3 people, they're going to either have a bookie or have an app that they go on to spend and gamble on sports and stuff like that. And you see it everywhere, man. If you're a sports fan or if you're just involved just a little bit in sports, what's something you're going to see on ESPN? What's something you're going to see on your Instagram feed? What's you're going to see these are the odds of this. This is the odds of this.
Yeah.
And it's funny because then at the bottom they put, "Oh, if you or your family member has trouble, please call this." I'm like, stop shoving it in my face,
right? But it's like, but think about it. It's like how alcohol is such a big deal in the NFL. They pump that shit into the commercials. Drink this, drink that, drink this, drink that, and then drive home from the football game that you were just at. So
these keys feel great in my pocket.
Right. So it's like they push these things, but like we as consumers buy into it. So it's not like they know what they're doing. It works.
Everybody's doing it.
Works.
The Saudis would not allow this.
They would not.
They would not. But Vic, what do you think about all this?
Man, I as long as they ain't gambling on their own teams, who gives a shit?
I agree.
Let them gamble. I mean,
but there is like inside information that you can get. Like, hey, is so and so playing today?
but you know what? Hey, you don't think Vegas is getting that same shit? You don't think the house is getting that same shit? Oh, they got.
I mean, of course they are, but they are the house for a reason.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's I say let them do it. Who cares? Especially if they're not doing it. If they're doing it on their own, if they're betting on their own team, then they should be kicked out of the league.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. If they're betting on their own team to win, then I'm cool with that too.
Are we sure? Because the starting quarterback is not going to be playing, so you're going to win. That's inside information.
Well, I mean, but you don't think Vegas has that information?
Of course, but they're the house.
But that doesn't matter.
The house gets the benefit. Always gets the.
I'll tell you what. If we ever have another Tim Donaghy situation, we need to tar and feather that motherfucker.
What about that Boston dude? That loves y'all so much.
Leave Eric Lewis alone. He's a national treasure.
So Eric Lewis is on that list?
No, man. Eric Lewis is just chilling, dude. He's a good ref.
Listen, I do think there's a Tim Donaghy right now in the NBA, and we're about to have with all these people getting caught in basketball, football, I mean, soccer, everything. We're about to have another Tim Donaghy situation because it's impossible that there's not somebody helping shade points a little bit. Or
real quick, that third quarter just happened.
I just saw the score. Yeah, when Denver plays like this, they can't be stopped. Like
it will. I'll tell you what. If there is another Donaghy situation, it will ruin the league. There is no other sport where a ref can affect the outcome more than in the NBA. There is no other sport where the ref has the ability to add points to a team's scoreline, right? I guess other than soccer and a penalty, but it's very different, right?
So what about like you call like phantom pass interference down the field or holding down the field?
You're not giving the points though. You're not giving them points. You're literally it's a 50-50 chance that you're giving the other team points, right?
Yeah.
In soccer, you can't just call a penalty, right? You can't.
Yeah.
If you call
just don't let them bet on their sport.
Yeah, what
that
Vic's
part, I don't have a
is,
problem with them betting on other sports. It's like the ones that bet within their own confines. It's like think about it. People in Wall Street get in trouble for this all the time. They go to prison. So it's like it's the same concept.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that, KK. But it's yes, they can have inside information, but typically that inside information is gathered by sharps as well. And a lot of people have inside sources, not just team. I mean, a lot of people do. So maybe, if you're going to make them get in trouble, everybody should get in trouble then, including the house, right? But I think I was being a little facetious when I said just let them bet on their own team. I'm with you. Don't let them bet on their own sport. But I think Calvin Ridley was betting on college football, right, or something.
That wouldn't bother me as much. Like, I mean, it's the same sport, but not the same league by any means. So it's like,
right. And things like that. I think you have to take it by case scenario, right? You can't just have a blanket. You're all screwed. So I mean, that's my stance on it. I really could care less about it, to be honest with you. But I really do think if we found out some NBA referees were betting on a game, that would be disastrous.
I mean, again, it would not shock me by any means. Like Tim Donaghy has alluded to it like a few times that.
Oh, I'm sure he has. I mean, I would too if I got caught for.
Yeah, but like when you get caught, you just give up all your assailants. That's what you do. You snitch on everybody.
Yeah,
so,
but what he says is that there were a lot of referees that would call shit against players they didn't like, right? Which makes sense. They're human, right?
Foster.
Yeah, Scott Foster. Who's the guy that just retired? Fucking asshole that teed up Tim Duncan for laughing at him on the bench.
That's one of my most iconic moments ever. By the way,
Joey Crawford.
Well, I remember I was watching that game live. I still remember, and I'm like, and I've always had like a lot of love and respect for Tim Duncan. So like when he's laughing on the bench, I'm laughing with him. I don't even know why he's laughing. Cause I'm like, I like to see Tim Duncan laughing, right? When I saw that shit happen, I was like, this is the most foul shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
We've got a problem with the NBA, though, because if you look at it, what other sport do we know the referees by name?
Yeah.
Right? Other than that big...
Well, football,
hockey.
you know.
We only know hockey because he's jacked.
But you know the main ref because you see him on TV every single week.
Yeah.
And so that, But they have, I mean, I don't know. We're going to see it. Just trust me, we're going to see it. If all these players are getting caught, there is a coach or there's a ref. There's definitely a ref that's involved with all of this. So we're going to leave it there. Before we wrap up, why the hell is Josh Allen on the cover of Madden 24? What has he done? What has he done?
He's just cool. Just a pro.
All right. Where can we find you guys at, Townie?
Nowhere. Right now, we're on hiatus.
Okay. Where can we find you guys individually at?
Nowhere right now. Townie_sports, though, as always. Townie Sports Pod on TikTok and also Townie Sports on YouTube. If you want to see some of our old posts, we will probably most likely be back for NFL because that's kind of where we like to spread our beans out and talk about our beans and where we spend our beans because, we don't really gamble on real money because it's illegal. But yeah, that's where you can find us.
What do you guys
I wouldn't mind maybe getting Sami into the Gold Cup a little bit this year. Maybe we can spark up a couple Gold Cup pods.
I'm down.
I don't know the Gold Cup. is the equivalent to the Euros for CONCACAF. So a little Gold Cup action coming this summer.
What
yeah.
plans do y'all got this summer?
Let's do it.
Outside of pod, taking a hiatus and all that.
I'm hoping for a lot of
fun?
golf.
Golf?
Yeah, a lot of golf. I'm single dadding it right now. So
In this heat, sheesh. All right, A-Rod.
Yeah, no midday golfing, Vic. Come on, we got to do
6
that.
a.m. 6
that
a.m.
wasn't me. That was Sammy. That was on Sammy.
All
And
right.
then he canceled for Pokemon Go.
We canceled for Pokemon.
That's the most bullshit.
We canceled for
ever.
Pokemon Go.
I hope this is not real.
No, that
It
is
is
so
real.
real. I had a tea time booked and everything, and they're like, "Oh no, this is Pokemon Go event."
I hate y'all. I'm so mad right now. A-Rod, where can they find us?
You can find us on Twitter at @fair_weather_pod. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Search the Fair Weather Podcast. You will find us there. Where you subscribe or listen to podcasts, you can catch the audio there as well. Any words of wisdom?
Zion, man, just keep putting rubber on, bro, and just get out. Deactivate your Twitter, deactivate your Instagram, and just take a break. Stay in shape and be ready for the 2023 NBA season. That's all I got.